Good morning, everyone. Our webinar will be starting the next few minutes. Kindly share the link with your friends to join us. Thank you. Share the link on the chat box with your friends.
Kamera haifanyi. Kuja.
Kamera.
So good morning. Good morning. If you can hear me, you can share good morning. Good morning. Karibuni sana. Karibuni sana. First of all, I want to apologize for the other week on Friday. We had a lot of technical issues. Karibuni sana. My co-host, you can share the link on the chat. Kindly share the link on the chat. Good morning, Annabeth. Annette Kibet. You can say a good morning on the chat. You can say a good morning on the chat. It's a wonderful chilly Friday in Nairobi. It's a bit cold, but we are well. So if you can say a good morning on the chat, you can also tell a friend that we have started so that they can join us. Let a friend join us. My co-host, kindly share the link on the chat. Kindly share the link on the chat. The webinar is free of charge. Karibuni sana. We are going to start in a minute. As you say a good morning, you can also tell me where you're watching the webinar from. Where you're watching the webinar from, kindly. I would want to recognize where you are. And you can also tell me if this is your first time. If it is your first time, you can tell me a yes. So if it is a first time, you can tell me a yes. So I also want to see who are seeing this webinar for the first time. So you tell me where you're watching the webinar from. You also tell me if this is your first time, you can say yes. So I can see Phoebe, I can see mornings, good mornings, good morning, asanteni sana. Thank you for joining. And yesterday, were you able to And yesterday, were you able to listen to the budget? You can also tell me your views on the budget reading that was done yesterday. And we are going to also discuss and see there are some tax elements that were mentioned. We are going to mention a few on this webinar. So karibuni sana. Sana. I said you told me where you're watching the webinar from. I can see Nairobi. Karibuni sana. And I can see some yeses that this is your first time. So if this is your first time, you can go ahead and on our social media, RWK Africa. You can like and follow us every time we have a webinar. You can be able to just come in and learn. So we do these webinars, 3 of them in a month. You can be able to join us and learn about taxation, about audit, about bookkeeping, about tax trends, like what we are talking today, and looking at the tax landscape and what is happening. So you can go and you can be able to join us. We also share a lot of newsletters. My co-host, we subscribe you the moment you, and I'm hoping we don't share a lot of emails. we share a lot of content, so you can be checking your email. We always share content. We also share alerts when we are having this. Yesterday, we had a very interesting discussion with the CEOs. It was organized by HFCB, and we had a really good time. The other day, we were also discussing the finance bill on X Spaces. It was my first time to discuss Qua X. So we also had a very lovely discussion. And I'm happy to see you coming here, because the more you learn, the more you're able to understand taxes. So I can just see, I'm just seeing good mornings, and I'm happy that you came here to learn. So asanteni sana. Asanteni sana. I don't know if my chats are lagging. I wanted to see where you're watching the webinar from. I really wanted to see that. So I'm going to explain the content for the day. I'm going to put it on slideshow in a minute. And we have a very wonderful discussion about the filing season. Let me also ask, have you been able to file your return? Leo ni 12. Na KRA issued a circular on Monday that they are not going to extend the period of time. From 30th June, they will not be able to extend the period. So have you been able to file? You can also tell me on the chat. Have you been able to file? I'm going to show you how to file in a very short, in a very easy way, so that it will help you on filing, so that you're able to hit the deadline very, very easy. So you can see from Vihiga County, that is the essence. From Mombasa, Kiambu first time. Oh, okay. Karibuni sana first timers. We always train on tax. So Karibuni, you join us, and because you are on our database, we'll be sending those, we'll be sending the links so that you can be able to join us. So I can see from Juja, from Nairobi, from Vihiga, Diani. Thank you so Mlolongo. Thank you, Peter. Asante sana. So you can share the link to somebody and let them join us. I can see first timers, karibuni sana. So can we go to the trainings? Be free to ask questions on the chat. I'll have time to answer all the questions. Baringo County, asante sana. That is the essence. Mombasa, first time, karibu sana. That is the essence of social media. It really able to push us to be able to reach out to so many people, even in the diaspora. So asante, let's go to the training. I want to talk about the filing first. Let's talk about the filing. And then after filing, we also talk about so many other things. Oh, someone is saying, can Africa Bakery? No, I tried, but I was not able to. Filing. So I'll talk about filing so that you can beat the deadline before I talk about even the budget yesterday and any other item. So let's go. So if you can see my notes, you can say yes. I'm going to put on slideshow in a minute. You can just tell me yes on the chat. So you can tell me yes so that I can proceed. I'm going to talk about the tax trends. I'll talk about income and expense validation for year 2025, income tax filing, that one that is giving us a lot of headache. Don't worry about the narration down there. It's done by AI. Don't worry about it. And then I also talk about the Finance Bill 2026, a few items, highlights, and also I also talk about the budget that was done yesterday, the highlights and possibly what you need to know. So this is the public notice that was given on 8th. That 8th was Monday. That KRA reminding us that we are supposed to file our return by 30th of June 2026. And it also mentioned another thing, that for this year, the support of non-items receipts that we were having. Remember the other time we had the pin of the supplier that was stressing us. They deactivated that session. I'm going to show you how you can do it. But they also mentioned, if you read it, that the allowance is just for year 2025. So the allowance applies only for filing for income tax return for year 2025. From the year 2026 income onward, all declared income and expense must be supported by valid electronic tax invoice generated and transmitted through eTeams or Teams. And this is where I pose and ask a question. So far, we are almost in the middle of the year 2026. Have you been eTeams compliant? Have you been eTeams compliant? Have you been able to get all your purchases and all your expenses on eTeams? Because those that you've not done on eTeams, come next year filing for 2026, they will be null and void. They will not be accepting those expenses and purchases. So this is now pushing us to the next level. And I thought when we started on this, possibly this year, they should have given us 50% compliance. Next year, we push to 80% compliance. The other year, we go to 100. But they are saying 2026, all your eTeams, all your expenses have to be eTeams. Of course, there are issues that I went to a matatu and paid some money. There are those issues, and I'm very sure that they are handling. Right now, we can even be able to see electricity payments on eTeams. So even those government offices that you go, there is no eTeams. I'm very sure by that time, those are the things that they are working on. So we have that. So it is upon you now to organize your business to be able to see how you can be able to fit in eTeams on everything that you're doing. Of course, the non-eTeams that you are having, most of the time is because we are purchasing from people who are not eTeams compliant, and especially the micro SMEs, the people from informal sectors, or even us. Some of us are not eTeams compliant. But KRA talked about reverse invoicing. If somebody says, I don't have eTeams, I don't have the technical capacity, you can reverse invoice on their behalf. And the catch is that they have to accept that code. There is a code sent to them, OTP, they have to accept. Why do they have to accept? So that you don't misuse it. Number one. Second is that they also know that at the filing period, they're also supposed to file for that income. To them is an income they should declare. Also on this public notice, there's something that was also mentioned, that the taxpayers who will not be able to file their return by 30th June 2026 will be subjected to default assessment. I want to talk about what is default assessment. So this is the implication of the notice, that there will be no extension for 30th June 2026. The system is working well, by the way, as per now. So you can be able to file before we see if the system is going to bring a bit of lagging. Late filing exposes the business to KRA action. Unsupported expenses face validation. I'll talk about that. And then when we talk about default assessment, it means the KRA goes to your business. They look at the information provided, could be information from VAT or eTeams or from third-party information. Who are these third-party? Information from your supplier, information from your customer. And from all the data that they're going to gather, they can do a default assessment. A default assessment is you've not given them any information. You've not given them a financial statement. You've not given them any ledger, but they just use the information they have, the data they have, and other sources from that party. And from that data, they issue an assessment. Do you remember what happened in April? By April 30th, KRA sent us messages, and I don't know how many of us were sent a message. They were able to look at your e-TIMS data. They look at your e-TIMS sales, e-TIMS purchases and expenses, and sent a notification telling you to pay taxes. They even computed. And there's a day I did a demo here. So they will look at your items and find that it has 30 million. Then they go to your purchases and expenses has 20 million. And in those, so they assume the profit is 10 million. And they do 30%, and they tell you this 30%, 30%. Now that 10 million, they multiply by 30% corporation tax. That's about 3 million, and they tell you you pay this money within that by 30th April. Of course, that message and that email did not include operational costs like salaries. They did not go back to your payee and check how much you had paid. They did not include non-items issue. So that is how a default assessment is done. They can pick all that information. They don't have, they like have 50% or 30% of the information, and they issue a default assessment. After issuance of a default assessment, what happens? You find that additional assessment, that default assessment on your iTax portal, possibly that 3 million. Then now you have to do objection, you have to give documentation, you now have to go through the legal process for that amount to be removed from the system. So it is also a very huge hassle. So this is how you file. I guess I put a bit of fear on that. So let me show you how now to file the 2025 income tax. So you go to your iTax portal, and the iTax portal provides that dashboard. It is giving you information about your sales, about your purchases. It is even your imports. It's able to give you information about imports and the imports and also exports. And by the way, for people who are doing exports, we realize that the system has some issues. I'll mention the issues that we have realized. Let me first show you how to file. So you pick you click proceed to be able to download. We are downloading the zip file for you to be able to file the income tax. So I know you know so you open the zip file or return file, or items data can be accessed for cross-checking before filing. So you can be able to download items data. So one of the things that we have realized when we download the items data, that one I didn't put here, we have realized that some of those items data has duplication. It has duplication. So you find your VAT sales is 30 million, but when you go to items data, it is giving you 35 million, 36 million. That is, when you realize that those figures are not matching, go one by one. Na kama unafailiwa na mtu ako na uzembe, talk to us, because some of those things are going to create a crisis when you file wrongly. Go one by one and look at that additional money. Where is it coming from? Because the items data has a bit of duplication. So ISPAC, through ISPAC and KRA, a meeting that happened last week, they say that those duplication will be automatically, with time, they have realized they are duplication. So with the time, they are going to be removed from the system. So if you just pull the items data, it is giving you 35 million for sales, and you just use it as it is. When duplication happens, when the reconciliation happens and it lowers to 30 million or something like that, then there will be issues. So check your data, both for sales and for purchases. Some of us created credit notes, but credit notes did not go through. So just audit the items data. Don't just pull it and just use it as it is. So audit the items data, compare that data with the data that you're having for your sales and for your purchases. So that is number one. After counter checking that, then we come to now do the return. So download the auto-populated return, navigate the file return, and I'll share the notes with you. So don't worry, I'm going to share the notes with you. So this is how you're going to do it. So this is how you're going to download the auto-populated IT company return. So the first time we are doing the checking the items data, then here we come and do, we download the income tax company return. So this is how it looks like. It has pre-populated information. So previously there was not this section. Some of these sections we used to fill them. But now the sections come pre, it can be able to pull information from the iTax portal and populate some of this information. So if you had withholding taxes, you're going to find it there. Some of this information, we were inputting them manually. So it's also a good way so that you don't make errors. It will just give you the information by itself. Installment taxes, if there were installment taxes that you had done, you're going to find them there. Pre-filed for you. So even the payment registration number will be there. But as we say, do confirmation of everything. Then after that, we are going to have the non-items expenses. So that is how the return looks like. But for it, you're going to have the non-items expenses. So for the non-items expenses, this is how you're going to do the adjustments. So you're going to first pull the CSV file, the Excel file. You're going to first download it. This is how it looks like. So it has the section supplier PIN, supplier names, invoice number, invoice date, supplier description, amount. So this one you're inputting the manual non-items information. So previously we had issues with the supplier PIN because we were saying if you did not have the supplier PIN, if you did not have the items, why are you being requested for the supplier PIN? So these are to receipt, kama ni fuel, kama ni repairs, rent, those receipts, and there's no PIN. So KRA has deactivated this section. So you can either input or not put. So it will go through. Previously, it was not going through without you putting the supplier PIN. But the catch is that you're going to put one by one. So for instance, you have fuel worth 5 million the whole year. But among the 5 million, you have fuel worth 2 million. And by the way, when you download the items data, the items data is giving us information about your purchases and your expenses. So when you're auditing that items data, you remove purchases. For instance, you have purchases worth 10 million. So you're going to see the data, 7 million is purchases, 3 million is expenses. 3 million is expenses of what? Possibly expenses of fuel, expenses of electricity, expenses of repairs. Make sure that you analyze that. So that when you come to do the income tax return, the expenses, if the items gave you expense of 3 million for your fuel, and you have 5 million, you come and see this gap of 2 million, where is it? So that now when you're feeding the 2 million, you feed it properly on this file. I hope Sionge agreed. Someone is able to understand what I'm saying. So that you don't also feed the same information that is in items. Remember here, you're supposed to give us manual and items. So if you have fuel worth 5 million and items has been able to capture 3 million, remember it is capturing from where? You gave that petrol station your PIN number. So when they were giving you those receipts, they were capturing your PIN. But when you come to look at your income statement, your your fuel is 5 million. So that 2 million is what you're going to put here. And you're going to put it one by one. So you have receipts like 500 receipts. You're going to feed that entry one by one. Supplier PIN is not necessary. Supplier name, Kenya, for instance, Toto Thika Road, invoice number or receipt number, you put it there. Invoice date or receipt date, put it there. Supplier description, fuel amount. There are some companies who are having 5,000 entries, 6,000 entries, 10,000 entries, depending on the magnitude of the non-items issues. So this is where a bit of problem is coming in. The other catch is, if you don't have, some of us overstate our expenses. You look at your profit margin and the profit margin is so high and you don't want to pay the taxes and you're like, what do I do? You come back to the income tax statement and you hike the expenses. So the expenses will be fuel. It's 3 million, you hike it to 5 million. You don't have any receipt. This is where now the problems comes in. How will you justify those expenses? So with the filing of 2025, one of the biggest thing KRA is going to be able to do with this process is eliminate fake expenditure. Because that expenditure, you have to put it here. Nitarudi kwa maswali so that I see what your question is. After you do that, you come to upload supporting documents. Hatujamalizia hapo. So after you do these entries one by one, and by the way, the amount that you're going to get out of this, for instance, you put fuel, you put repairs, you put rent, you put marketing costs, all here, all entries, the amount that you're going to get out of this, possibly to be 10 million worth of expense, kuna mahali tunarudi pale kwa system kuiweka. So I'm going to show you how we're going back there. So after that, the information you provided there provide supporting documents. So you're going to scan those information and upload them here. So some of you have, this is 10 MB. So some of you might have more MB than 10. Make sure it's 10 MB. Kama uko na mingi, you can condense or you can sample. But if there are just a few, you can be able to do this. Remember, KRA stated that after we do this, they are going to recheck this data. They are going to upload these files and they are going to check the supporting document that you have provided. So they are going to do a return review of this information. So make sure that you also do it properly. So after that, this is where you're going to put the information. So there's other allowable information. And the number 6, manual and e-teams or teams expense. So the information that you've provided here, you're going to bring it back to this point. You're going to bring it to this point. So it's going to pick it automatically and bring it there. And that is how the return is happening. So KRA has updated the manual and e-teams declaring process to allow taxpayers to capture certain valid business expenses even when the supplier PIN is not available. So that is something that was the update that was done. And the other thing that we have realized, when you pick information on e-teams data, this information, when you pick this information, the very first time I said, when you go to the dashboard, first analyze the dashboard information it is giving you, e-teams information, VAT return information, withholding analysis, pay as you earn. Analyze those information that the system is giving you. And by the way, if this is very complex, kindly talk to us, because most of the tax queries come from the way we file our return. How we file our return is one of the biggest tax triggers. So a VAT analysis has to be done, ITIMS analysis, pay as you earn, any withholding done, any installment done, all those has to be first captured before you look at the information that you're having. I talked about that the ITIMS data has duplication, so look at the duplication. We've also seen for exporters, if you issued an ITIMS for export, then at the point of export, the custom system, ICMS system, is giving us information. So this dashboard is giving us information about export. So you find someone on their ITIMS data export, they have data like 100 million. Then on the export, it is giving another amount. So when you come to file, the returns want you to capture both of them. And this both of them is like duplication, but they have different entries. So it's posing a bit of issues. So you can also be able to look at that. The other point is that if you download the ITIMS data, and the ITIMS data is giving you the expenses and purchases is for instance 50 million. The expenses and purchases is 50 million. When you come to your income tax return, the one that you have done, remember income tax return, the cost of sales, unafanya opening stock, purchases minus closing stock, your cost of sales. The cost of sales for you, the cost of sales possibly comes to 40 million. That difference of 10 million can be able to accommodate some of your expenses without using the CSV file. Hiyo book hapa appointment kama unataka more explanation. If the cost of sales is higher than the information in the ITIMS, kuna information una have to upload. You have to upload the auditor's PIN, and you have to upload the financial statement. So it's a bit complex when you compare the cost of sales plus the ITIMS data that has been provided. So much for that. I'll share the notes with you. And also you're going to get the recording. The recording also be provided so that you can listen when you're doing it. Circulate a bit of complex. So ask a question about this. Tuko almost 15 and KRA wamesema hatujafile return. So uliza hiyo swali. So also you can file through Shuru, WhatsApp chat box. But this is, I see it's really helping people who have very small transactions ama mtu wa nil. So Shuru iko hapo, you can go to Shuru chat box. Itakupatia yenyewe, hata itakupatia ITIMS data. But it's just doing it for transactions that are, ama wale watu wanaenda KRA kupiga laini ndio wafanye hiyo ni return. You can go to the cyber and they can do through Shuru. Yes. So that's what I heard about filing. Let me see your, ama nime explain in Greek. Let me see your chat before I move to the next point. So ask the question, how do you scan 3,000 invoices? If 3,000 invoices are beyond the 10 MB, una scan 2 samples. Scan 2 samples, but I'm very sure the pre-filing vile walituambia watatuangalilia, that will be one of the queries. By July, KRA will focus on that. We'll focus on that. Jane anauliza, as a farmer paying laborers, how do I reverse invoice? Some of those cash is casual and have no PIN. By the way, their expenses which are items exempted. So Jane, casuals, salaries, their items exempted. Na hiyo co-host hatukuweka hiyo. But you can also check, we have done that one. We did put, there's a time we demonstrated where to input there. Hizo salaries, finance costs. It could have been a good one to show you. Eco provided it is provided there in the income. Your upload document uploaded. Iko sections where you put your salaries. Hiyo is not subjected to items. Where you put finance costs. Yes, it is there. So possibly on Friday when we'll be doing a topic, we'll be having a topic. I'll check what we'll be having. Nitademo that part again, so that I make sure that everybody is able to file vizuri. So you can ask a question, some ziko mrefu. What is the situation where supplier doesn't have a PIN? Tumesema sio necessary at the moment. ITIM system has always had errors. KRA is busy calling the return simplifier. Sawa, iko nayo. So audit that ITIM's data iko na errors. Make sure that you audit it. This year 20, instead of waiting till can be done monthly. Okay. Make sure at the moment, by then you can be able to see the items data before you close the month. Angalia to just make sure, audit it before the close of the month to just see if you don't have those errors. What if you paid a boda person hana error? Iweke kwa petty cash, iweke kama those wages. Some of those are not items compliant. Like we are below 5 million, so my expense includes VAT. Can I claim expenses including VAT or without? Okay, by the way, hiyo pia ni error ingine tumeona. For people who are below 5 million, and you have expenses that you paid VAT, inakueliminatea hiyo VAT. Na hiyo VAT bado ilikuwa expense yako. So, hiyo pia tumeona ikiwa error. You can tell me how you're handling it. So, those are some of the errors that we are raising to KRA to hear how they are working on it. I'm an NGO. Cost like staff transport, we give them cash, not fuel. It's quite huge. How do we file? You can put them as per DM. You can put them as per DM and make sure that you have documentation. Make sure that you have documentation. Where do we get interest penalty waiver for pay? Is there a way? Yes, there is. Kuna amnesty inakuja. I'm hoping it is going to go through from July to December. You can be able to get the waiver. Kuna mtu nimeona ameandika kitu mrefu. Some of them nitasoma baadaye. How about situation where you issue cash? So Liz, tumesema ukiissue cash, make sure that you get a receipt. Some of those things, boda nini, you can input them uko kwa wages, but make sure that you also have documentation. How do you capture exports of services in items? Items in a provide. Items has all those, it has the exempted, it has the zero, it has the standard rated. So you can be able to capture that. And also, if these are sales, items does not have a problem on sales. Unaweza overstate sales zako and make sure that you accommodate them. How have you found a solution where filing where income is duplicated. So if income is duplicated, una file ile yako. File yako. If you find the items data is giving you 35 million, na yako ni 30, file 30. KRA stated that the duplication is going to, those duplicates are going to, the system is going to reconcile by itself. And that's why I'm saying audit that information. Otherwise, if you put 35, ikiji reconcile yenyewe, ikurudishie yako 30, then it is going to bring issues. It's going to bring issues. Okay. Sawa, hiyo nimesema mambo ya mtu wa nini. Okay, what if you paid? Okay, that it has errors. Kindly repeat the process. What is a situation where okay. I mentioned a bit of your questions. I can proceed on the training, then we can be able to, I'll come back and answer more questions. So if you have a challenge on filing, you can talk to us, especially on filing. We can help you on the correct filing. So please shed light on, especially on paid and not captured by KRA. What happens? So paid has to be captured. So go ahead and do the pay analysis, iko pale, and then you capture it. Hiyo haina shida. Morning, hapo tumefruit. Okay. Sawa. How long does it take before an items invoice are validated by KRA and ready for filing? Immediately. If somebody issues you an items invoice, unafaa kuiona, unafaa kuscan uione side yako immediately. Suppose you want to amend, let me talk about amendment, because this is where audit trigger comes in. Amend, how do you go about this? Because I tax those items. So make sure that you do it properly, because amendments are always audit triggers. Amendments are always audit triggers. Okay, let me go back. Kindly touch on adjustments and accrual. That would be better if I do a demo. Possibly the ones I talked about, cost of sales is higher than items. I can be able to do that, a demo on Friday. Possibly I can do a demo so that someone is able to understand much better. Let's go back to the training. Keep asking. The presentation is recorded, and also the notes. So my co-host, you can share the link. You register on the link, and then we are going to share the notes with you. How are you going to treat casual laborers? They are exempted from items. You just capture them. On Friday, I'll show you how to capture them. I missed on that one. But I've done it before here. If you came the other Friday after the other one, I had mentioned. So let's go back. Let's talk about a bit about the finance bill and also the budget. I'll come back to the issues that you're raising. Let's proceed. So kuna mtu amesema shuru inasema nini? So shuru is It's just helping you do a bit of filing, especially for people who are doing it kidogo kidogo. So KRA intensifies enforcement. So there are a lot of targets for tax collection. So for year 2025, 2026, that is ending by 30th of June, the target was 2.9 trillion, almost 3 trillion. KRA by 31st, that first March, they were able to collect 2 trillion. So showing that the targets, and the targets are coming in this month. So tutaona how much they are able to do that. That I'll tie that with the budget and be able to explain further. But we've been able to see a bit of an enforcement in trying to recover a bit of this money. So number one, we've seen a lot of debt recovery through agency notices. Have you heard recently of a lot of agency notices, even being sent to third parties? Third parties are your customers, your tenants, if you are landlord. So beyond sending them to the bank, and because some of us, by the time agency notice reaches to the bank, you don't have any money in the bank. They're now they are sending to customers, they are sending to to tenants and other that party holding money. If you're doing business with the county government, parastatus, they send those letters. And by those government agencies, they cannot pay you. They'll pay KRA direct. Customers wanakuwa a bit better. They'll call you and ask you. But also, it also gives a very bad face, because now customers will start wondering, why are you having issues with KRA? Ama pia utaniweka hapo kwa hizo issues zako. So we've seen a lot of agency notice. So for you, if you have tax arrears in the system, number one, the tax arrears, self-assessment. I've also seen that some of us don't look at our ITIMS data, especially if you're VAT. You don't check your ITIMS data. And I know sometimes we are so busy. By the time the month closes, you come to the new month. By the time you're coming to file for VAT, and it is auto-populating, it auto-populates that you're supposed to pay 2 million, 3 million. Hiyo ndio time unashtuka. What happened? How did we do this thing? By the way, if you're doing VAT and you have volumes, by date 20, just monitor 20. You monitor 25, you monitor, so that you're able to plan, get purchases on credit, look at how you're selling, because if you don't do that, by the time you auto-populate, you're going to auto-populate amounts you cannot be able to pay. The moment you auto-populate 3 million to pay, KRA start calling you immediately, because that is self-assessment. Self-assessment does not even have a payment plan. Immediately, they'll start calling you after that month. By the time that month is over, they issue you an agency notice saying that you have their money. So make sure that self-assessment is done properly. If you have tax arrears, make sure that you have a payment plan, and the payment plan is honored. So just honor the payment plan. If you're not able to honor the payment plan, make sure that you know your tax manager and keep talking. Tell them, I was supposed to pay 200,000. I've paid 100. I'll pay the next 100 within 2 days, within a week, just have that conversation, so that this agency notice, you don't get them. The moment you get an agency notice to the bank, for you to remove it, they start asking for 50% of the tax arrear or a third of it. And sometimes you don't even have that money. So it also becomes very, very tricky. And they can issue, and by the time you start doing delay of KRA, the bank will just send the money, whatever money is there, send to KRA. I've seen agency notices where KRA writes to the bank, how much money is it in the bank account? And KRA and the bank responds immediately, says the bank has 2 million. Then KRA raises a PRN or an e-slip to the bank to send that money to them. So it is as tough as that. So make sure that you're organized properly. Post-clearance audit under customs. So if you're doing imports for people who do, and in our country, we are doing a lot of imports. We survive on China items and India. All those imports, by the time you import, that is not the end. There's a lot of post-clearance audit to audit especially the pricing of those goods. Did you use the custom value properly? Or did you lower your custom value so that you don't pay correct taxes? And by that, there are so many taxes at the import. There's the import levy, there's taxes, there's VAT, there's excise in some, there's railway levy. There are so many levies at the port. So did you lower your custom value for you to evade these taxes? So, and I've seen this department very, very aggressive. So make sure that you look at that. Did you use the correct tariff? So there are tariffs when you're importing. If it is raw materials, all of them, they have different tariffs. Sometimes we misclassify these tariffs so that you pay lower taxes. Import declaration, exemption, duty paid. So there's a full department in KRA auditing our imports. So make sure that you do correct imports. Especially custom value. You talk to the Chinese, you tell them you're paying something worth, a container worth 10 million, and then they give you invoices worth 5 million. With the invoice of 5 million, you bring that item to the country and you evade a bit of taxes. After that, the issue, first of all, how do they know that you did not use the custom value? They look at other importers. They compare with other importers. So they compare with others, then they compare with the market rate. For instance, they query China. How much are you sending this item? They query that import. Then the moment they determine that you have issues, they ask you for documentation. First of all, they want to see the invoices, and they also want to see how you paid that money. So you must give them those RTGSs, and the bank statement. Na hapo ndio utashikiwa kwa sababu the bank statement will show the correct amounts. So that is a crackdown that is happening. Number 3, landlords under the MRI regime. KRA is doing a lot of surveillance, door to door. They determine that most of us, the landlords, are not paying, especially the residential rental income tax. So they are coming to our places. And I've seen that this one in the last 3 months. And I'm very sure if you're a landlord somewhere, KRA has. First of all, they spot information from the KPLC. Then they go to water meter. And then they go to surveillance. Actually, when they are coming, they know exactly where they are coming. And when they come, and I've mentioned here before, they pose as landlords, so as tenants, so that they can gather as much information as possible. By the time they are giving you this information, is information that you cannot deny. So what will they ask you for? They will ask you for bank statements where you're receiving this money. And from the bank statement, they are going to do the MRI. And sometimes it becomes very, 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 very costly. Remember, it's 7.5%, and it is going to 10% on gross rent collected on that very month. So this is why you even have the tax, the rent registers. The other one, KRA is tracking the informal sectors. They have a full department on the small and micro SMEs. The us, KRA stated that the tax base, this is one of the biggest focus. So how are they focusing? They want to focus on the M-Pesa tills and the pay bill and those business numbers. How are they getting to know them? When they visit, they get to see those M-Pesa tills. So at the moment, we've not, these M-Pesa tills, M-Pesa pay bill have always been a conversation where KRA says, we want to see the M-Pesa tills and the pay bill automatically. That one has never happened, and is always a push that if you push that way, people stop using them and they go back to cash, to the cash platform. So at the moment that is not there, but they always come when they are buying, they always be able to look at that, because that is how we transact today. Also using eTIMS to track on sales. So KRA is really using eTIMS to crack down on sale on us, and especially if you're doing things which are not okay on your eTIMS. I've stated that you have to learn to use eTIMS properly. No credit notes, you issue an invoice or it's not going through a credit note, all those issues. The other big point, I didn't put it on this note. If KRA sends you letters and they send you, start calling you and you're not responding, nowadays they are using eTIMS system to control, as a control system, where one day you go to raise an eTIMS invoice and they say, you find that it is written that you should go to KRA so that you can be able to raise an invoice. And when you go there, it's a full audit process. They will not be able to activate that eTIMS or to open it for you to do the invoice until you do the audit. It is happening as crazy as the way we used to have special table. So also respond. If someone is calling you, respond. If an email has been sent, kindly respond so that you don't get to that very point. And some of us say, if they deactivate my eTIMS, I register another one. It's another full process to register. Even if you say today I'm going to register a company, I apply for VAT. By the VAT application is a full, a lot of work. Even for us, we have to go panels, discussion, so many things for just a VAT obligation. Then you come now to register for eTIMS. eTIMS is automatic, but the whole process is also very complex. So just make sure that your eTIMS is not flagged out. Crack down on missing trader. So missing trader was where KRA stated that they are going to be using missing trader. They are going to be pushing special table for missing trader. The eTIMS system is really able to find out the missing trader. So who are the missing trader? This is where you get an invoice that is not valid. So you need to lower your VAT and you don't have correct purchases. And someone goes and sells you an eTIMS invoice. Yakuza too, there's no payment, there's nothing, so that you can lower the purchases, the VAT. The eTIMS system is able to crack down on this. And the moment they do that, they'll ask you for proof of payment, vitu zingine mingi, and they can even persecute you for that. So that is tax evasion. It can go through default and a lot of investigation on that. And the moment they crack down on one, they always find that hukutumia moja, wakiona ni wewe, watapata zingine kama tano wawafuate. It's a very complex decision. And by the way, when you're there, because the system will show, how does the system show that this person is a missing trader, and yet the VAT, the invoice auto-populated so well? They did not file that return on their side. It's a very complex way. So even if something auto-populating does not mean it is valid. So don't get that lie that utazipata kwa system ziko sawa. No. Something auto-populating does not mean it is valid. The other is ICMS and iTax VAT integration for exporters. So exporters, now the system has been integrated. You can be able to find your export details on iTax properly. So this is a very huge move, and it is going to eliminate a lot of even tax queries on exports. Sometimes KRA sends us export data, and export, if you compare the export data with what was filed, has so many errors, and it's a whole audit process telling them that these exports are not these are not true. They are duplicated, they are having issues. So this is a huge one. But also, on the other hand, for exporters who are using clearing agents, make sure that the agent is able to capture your details, exporters, KRA PIN, valid ITIM, so that you get your details filed in the iTax properly. So some of us use the agents, so the proper process is not followed. So this is also going to aid on the companies that receive refunds. It's going to be easier. KRA is going to also monitor where you're sending your items to. So this is what is happening right now. So if you're an exporter, take note of that. Also, I mentioned that the previous system has an issue where you issue the zero rated, then you find the ICMS. I'm hoping that one KRA is working on it. The private sector proposal, they had raised a proposal. I don't know if this will go through. They filed a proposal to cushion the workers under the finance bill, that 5% reduction of pay across income bands. There's a time we had a tax symposium, and the private sector came with this proposal. It was filed. By the time the proposal becomes an act, we're going to see if it is going to be input anywhere, somewhere. So this is an ongoing conversation. So the bill is in process. I believe it is in the second hearing. Before the end of the month, we're going to see what the president is going to assent to, and to the act now, and the dates, and the process. So possibly the next tax trends will cover that. So what are some of the proposed finance bill? Nitasema tu haraka haraka. We have discussed this over and over and over. Agency notices during tax disputes. This is a hard one. Stronger debt recovery powers by KRA. So KRA is proposing that if you have tax in dispute, and I mentioned here that when your tax is in dispute, whether objection, tribunal, ADR, courts, high court, you're not supposed to be asked to pay that amount. But they are saying that there are so many of us that are going through this process we were supposed to pay these taxes. So they are saying even if you are at a tribunal, that the objection, they are going to issue agency notice to the bank to recover that money. It is very punitive. I'm hoping some of these things will be removed. Tax amnesty extension, I've mentioned that they want to extend the amnesty for from July to December, the next 6 months, and it is going to cover until December 2025. So we're going to see 2024, we're going to see what happens with that amnesty. We're going to see what will happen. Virtual assets. So they checked to see crypto digital assets reporting framework. They were redoing the framework to cover crypto, Bitcoin. That is to recognize them as virtual assets so that they can be able to charge correct taxes. Taxation of digital finance services. I'm going to mention what the CS yesterday said on some of this. He mentioned a few of tax issues. I'm going to mention them in a minute. And one of it was the digital finance services. So wacha ni mention kwa hapo mbele. Shorter filing timelines. Also, he mentioned something about it. So I'll shift to what he mentioned. Shift of tax point for phones. So have you heard about this conversation that when you activate your phone, that is when you're going to be paying the single 25% excise duty? I even wondering how that will happen. The moment you activate, you start using the phone. And if you heard what the CS mentioned, that the phone has taxes worth, alisema 45% ama ilikuwa gapi? 55% ama 45. It has 10% excise, VAT, even railway was there. And then they say they are collapsing all that to do 25% excise upon activation. So he was saying that it is a better option. And I wondered, what does that mean? Because I was also wondering how many funds go through the process at the port. How many funds are imported at the port? Most of these funds come from Isili, through the air, they come. I don't know if they pay some of these taxes. So if this will come to the activation, I think it is going to make the phone expensive, because I don't know how many phones pay for those taxes at the point of entry. And I don't know how this will be done. Okay, activate. So who will be paying who? Is it the person selling you who will be sending to KRA, or it is you? Or you can explain there on the chat how will that be happening. So this is the budget overview. Let me just finalize so that I can go back to your questions. So the total budget estimate is 4.8 trillion. This is the overview of yesterday. The expected total revenue is 3.6 trillion. So this covers KRA and other collection, we call them A and aids. So the physical deficit is 1.4 trillion. So here 1.1 trillion, they're going to be doing it domestic borrowing, borrowing here locally. The biggest portion they're going to borrow. They're going to borrow, and they're going to borrow through bonds, treasury bills, hizo zote. And there was a time I listened to the domestic borrowing, that will it one day bring a crisis with these borrowings that you are borrowing domestic. Sometimes one time we had a conversation, and the conversation was that we are at the highest ceiling for borrowing, I guess a bit about 13 trillion. And one person asked, what if we default on this interest? Because most of these payments, the biggest portion is on interest payments, the biggest expenditure of this money. And someone asked, can we default? And the answer was, if we default on domestic borrowing. These 13 trillion, sio za outside Kenya, ni za Kenyans. 60% is Kenyan. So it means you're defaulting on Kenyans who have done bills, treasury bills, who receive those interests. So this borrowing that it's done every year, We say some of these things are risk free. Hapo kwa chat unaweza niambia what you feel. So these are some of the biggest sector allocations. Of course, every sector says we are not receiving enough money because most of this budget is recurrent budget. Actually, here total expected revenue, here 3.6 yote ni recurrent budget. So, you can share on the chat. So let's talk about the highlights. This is what I wanted to come to. The key highlights of the budget. This is what the highlight I would want you to know. No public procurements outside the EGP system from 1st of July. So if you're supplying to the government, the parastatal, those procurement will be done through the system. So I'm very sure there's most of us who do tender nini. So there's no now you have to use the system. So mpaka payment have to be systemized. I know that some of our customers who do the supply, this is changing a lot of how they operate. Na payment lazima zionekane vile umelipwa. So it's eliminating so many things. Verification of pending bills of 155B to be settled over the 2 years. So there are so many pending bills, and they have to be verified. Bank core capital deadline extension to 31st December 2032. So the bank have to have a core capital. So there's an extension that it has been extended. Agriculture insurance to become a standalone insurance class. So, so they want to enhance the agriculture insurance. Digital e-signature, seals, and timestamps to be supported. So if you use those e-signatures and those digital seals, they have to be supported. Public sector audits to be strengthened. So I guess especially there to strengthen so that the outcry on corruption and everything can be handled. So for taxes, so what did he mention on taxes? Business still file return by 30th of June. So hiyo nadhani kwa Finance Act itakuwa imetolewa. Non-return payers to file within 1 month after year end. So hiyo imemaintainiwa ile nil return to be done within one month. So tukimaliza December by what? By January unakuwa umefanya ni return. And remember January ni ile tunasema January. So I don't know some of us if we'll be remembering, but they need to be done within that month. Pay only taxpayer to file within 4 months after year end. So pay only. So for all of us who are employed, return yetu ni by 4th by April. If you're in this January, December calendar. So after 4 months, so those are the changes. Remember those pay, zote tunazifanyanga that 30th June right now. And I even know some of us hatujafanya nil, wapei bado hatujafanya hiyo return. So those are the changes for the year 2026 return. So the core financial services like M-Pesa, Airtel Money exempted from VAT proposal. So this was a very huge conversation. Vile ilisema pale that financial transaction will be subjected to VAT. So he made a bit of these clarifications. If M-Pesa is charged 16%, oh my goodness, I don't know how much that can cost. So he made a few of that clarification. But he also mentioned that the payment gateway, merchant acquiring, aggregation, and settlement platform may not qualify for the exemption. So they were looking gateways like Visa, all those to be able to charge a bit of this. And he mentioned that some of these companies come to offer these services in Kenya, and they are outside there, so they don't pay correct taxes. So those are the places where they would want to capture. What are the business implications? Government suppliers must prepare for full digital procurement. So if you're doing any business with the government, prepare for full digital procurement. Business should expect stricter tax compliance, especially to be able to handle the revenue, the tax budget that is so high. High domestic borrowing may pressure credit availability. So remember, I mentioned that they want to borrow locally more than a trillion. So it is going to give us a bit of pressure for credit. Remember also, the banks also invest with the government. So sometimes they weigh their risk. They say if they are giving us money, it is riskier than giving the government. So they end up providing that 1 trillion to the government instead of putting it out there to us to be able to run our businesses. So because of that, it affects the credit rating. Clean records and ETIMS compliance become critical. So we are in an era of ETIMS, and ETIMS is being enhanced every single day. So make sure that you keep your records, and also you do the ETIMS registration, you issue ETIMS. Now is a new norm. Contractors should watch for roads, housing, energy, health, education, and county opportunities. We have seen where the opportunities are, so you can be able to go that route. If you want to work with the government, you can be able to look at that route. So na nimekurudi kwa maswali, ask questions. What is your feeling about the budget? What is your feeling about what I've mentioned, so that we can be able to see? My co-host is also answering a few questions. Currently, can I file nil? Yes, you can. Does NGO file nil return because we don't make profits? No, there's a way you file. Your return, your audit report, ile mnapeleka kwa NGO council, you do it, you file it on iTax. It will not charge you any taxes. How is interest received? Received by an individual from the bank accounted for in annual return? Very good question, Mugambi. So for that interest, you get a withholding 5%. So when you open your portal, you're going to find withholdings from the bank. Hiyo pesa si final. Urecognize interest income. Ukienda pale kwa filing, utapata business income, rental income, interest income. Recognize it there. You recognize all the money you received, then you put a bit of expenses, then you find the amount to that amount to pay, you deduct the withholding that was done. So it's not final. So my co-host, you can is pay calculated monthly or annually? Okay, it is done monthly. It is done monthly, and you cannot be able to prepay. Lazima uweke every month. Just to be cautious when lending to government, don't put so much money. Hiyo ni Naomi anasema Is the eGPA system same as IFMIS? No. No. IFMIS is used for payments, to capture all your payments. So he procurement ni a tender will be put there. Even the people who won, even those LPOs, even the payments, even the supplies. Mtu ule amefanya hiyo, mtu ule ana supply to the government. You can write on the chat, but I've interacted with some of the people. They saying that it's bringing a lot of changes. And I mentioned if you're paid through IFMIS, you have to declare total amount, because IFMIS gives KRA that data for audit, for tax purposes. And remember, IFMIS gives the amount, even the bank and the date that you're paid. Inapeana kila kitu. So you have to declare full information, especially if you're paid through IFMIS. Wanted to ask an individual who have a business and also employ, what do you file? You file both. You do employment and you do business income. What happens now since the informal sector seems to be targeted? Does it mean that even Mama Mboga must be ITIMS compliant? So that is a push by KRA. That is a push by KRA. So did the budget change the zero to exempt? Not yet. We are going to see the Finance Act. We are going to see the Finance Act. He just mentioned a few of tax issues. So just be coming. I'll mention about the changes when they happen. Whatever the president is going to assent to agree to, and whatever the process. Can I re-upload my CSV if I uploaded with some wrong information and it went through? I've not yet filed the return. I think so. Na iko wapi your return kama hujaifile? You have uploaded, but you've not filed. I would want to hear more because I think you can. Si upload kwanza on your side. Then you work on, then you validate it. So I would want to hear more about it. Please talk about consultancy business. What taxes are due to them? If it is not, it is new, no. So for consultancy, how do I book an appointment? My co-host, you can do a calendar booking. Do a calendar booking, and also on the link that you're on the link where you the link for the notes where you put your email. It also asks you a question there. Do you have a query? Then someone can be able to call you. But my co-host, you can share a link for calendar booking. And I'm also going to share our number. I'm also going to co-host andika number hapo pia. So since the government is relying on domestic borrowing, how will this affect borrowing by SMEs from the banks? So I've said the credit rating might go up. Because most of that 1 trillion, most of the people who invest are the banks. They invest those fixed deposit we give them. Anapeleka kwa government inasema inapeana na 15%. Ama 13, yeye anakupatia na 10%. Most of the banks right now, they are doing fixed deposits at 8%, 9, 10. Wanapea government at 12, 13, 15. What is the implication of income earned from abroad when working remotely in Kenya? So Alex, that one you can do self declaration. You can declare and file. You can be able to declare and file, and you're going to do the graduated scale. So you can term it as a business income. For instance, the whole year I received 500,000. You do a few of expenses. At the end of it all, it will graduate and tell you how much you're supposed to, because for individual it uses the graduated scale. What happens to companies that have varying pay for its employees due to nature of business? Hiyo Jeff sijashika. How do I file nil if I'm abroad or do business in Kenya? Yes, if you're abroad and you have no business in Kenya, you can do a nil return. Have anyone encountered challenges return for real estate companies? The only expenses not appearing on iTax is bank charges. The system is generating an error. It appears that only expenses captured through eTIMS are being accepted. So hiyo ya real estate, we said the non-items unaziweka hivyo nilidemonstrate. The non-items. So the system will give you the expenses, the ones that it was able to capture. Then you do the non-items through the formula I shared. There's one for directors. Okay. Is there a penalty for business not registered for items? Yes, there is. There is a penalty. There are no penalties per se, but if KRA gets you, for instance, even having a receipt, they charge a penalty of 100,000, and then they take you through an audit. Can I produce an items on behalf of the landlord if I'm an agent? Yes, you can. But they have to agree. We said the agreement has to be there. Please tell this, their public forum that directors' allowances are not subjected to pay. Is their case supposed to? Yes, directors are supposed to do the pay as you earn. And those are not allowances. Those you have to really explain what is that. What is really that you're calling allowances? Is it a fuel allowance? So the fuel allowance, they have to bring the fuel receipt. So hizo ndio unaambiwa ati ziko exempted, but the receipt is there for such. But allowances that they took money home, that one will be charged pay as you earn. Or director fees, they will be charged to taxes. Is MRI final? Yes, the monthly rental income tax, it is final. So if your company just do the residential, just do MRI, it is final. If you have now the corporation tax on your PIN certificate, just do a new return. Just do a new return. When will be the deadline of filing for employed yet doing business? 30th of June. 30th of June. On education institution like private school, are they also required to issue e-TIMS invoice to parents? Yes. Even hospitals are issuing e-TIMS invoices. You do it under exempt. So hizo training education, they are exempted from VAT. So unafanya under exempt. Hakuna cost, hakuna taxes on it, but that information hiyo ya income itakusaidia ile time utakuwa ukifile corporation tax. Are loans from online apps allowable expense? Yes, it is. If it is a loan for business, it is. I hope inakupatia that structure. The loan is 50,000. This is the expense, the interest expense. I hope it can be able to give you, to also ensure that you have a document to show that you are paying for interest. Just asking for people like us who do bookkeeping as part-time job, and our clients pay us like full amount. How does it go? Beatrice, unaweza ambia client akufanyie withholding, ama kama hakufanya, do business income and then do some expenses and then pay a bit of taxes. How does filing return that has withholding where it is final tax, e.g. interest saving, to declare income and or expenses? If it is final, no. KRA is showing an income tax balance of 23,000 on my account, yet my employer deducted pay from my salary. The issue is that it has been calculated annually, and there are some months I didn't have income. So it has been shared over the months, spread over the month. You can, if what is being uploaded from the employer should tally what you're inputting. So it means ule anakufanyia afanye vizuri, inafaa if the employer deducted, there are some months he did not deduct or remit, inafaa kujifanya yenyewe vizuri. So make sure that it is done properly. Okay. I've not received the notes. Apologies, Patrick, kindly register again. We share the note immediately after the training. So we'll capture the correctly. Are exchange gain or losses exempt from e-TIMS? Yes, they are. And you can capture them on the return. Nilisema return iko na segments, hasikuonyesha hapa. So nitaonyesha Friday where to even do the bank charges, finance cost, interest costs, the wages, the pay, the salaries. I forgot to put that portion. So nitaidemo tena. So nimesema mtu ako na withholding certificate, unaenda kwa portal, unatoa hizo withholding certificate zote. Unaona the income is how much? It is 500,000. Then unaweka business income 500,000, then expenses, then pay taxes. We paid KRA via bank 2 months ago, but if I consult payment, the status is under payment register. Yes, we paid the bank and deducted from our bank account. Hiyo sielewi, Collins, what could be the issue, because it should be automatic. So my co-host can answer that one. What happens to business giving e-TIMS invoice with VAT yet not registered for VAT? you cannot issue VAT if you're not registered. Aje Caro, tell me the expertise that you're able to do that. Hata mimi nimeshanga. For the e-teams to be registered, it picks VAT or non-VAT, and VAT has to be registered on the system. So huwezi issue e-teams bila VAT if you're not registered for VAT. You can issue for non-VAT. How do you recognize commission which does not have an invoice, for example, a project expense? Commission. While the commissions, I hope you did the 5% withholding. You can recognize the commission as personal emoluments for now, or you can capture them for non-items. Waambiwe wakutumie to invoices, you just capture as non-items. And make sure that you also do the 5% withholding. I have an issue with filing 2025 income tax for someone in the transport industry who has been paying advance tax. Advance tax you pay for your commercial vehicle. The new auto-populated Excel sheet is picking advance tax for the current period. You sijasikia. If you don't declare the entire figure, itoe. Iyo ikipick kwa hiyo system, I'm very sure is not activated, or you can remove those amounts from the return I'm very sure you can. I do import some of my raw materials from outside. Do I have to inform my supplier to register to e-teams? It's important to know that they are not non-residence companies. Do I have to inform my suppliers? No. So if you're importing items, for instance, there are companies who import raw materials from East Africa. At the port, they are registered and you can find them as imports. Or when you're filing the VAT return, you can input those data in accept, especially for exempted. VAT ndio huwezi fanya, iki-autopopulate huwezi fanya anything. But for exempt, you can be able, exempt, zero-rated, imports, exports, you can be able to put them there. Is a school be eligible to switch to TOT regime? Yes, you can, Mugambi, but make sure you do your calculation very well. Remember, TOT is 1.5% on your gross income collected. So fanya tu hesabu vizuri so that it's also it will not bring issues. What happened to vendors charging you VAT on their and they're not registered? Hiyo sijaona. I'd want to see. Ama they are doing a manual receipt. Then wanaiandika pale chini VAT. So can an insurance agency switch to TOT? Yes, you can, but I mentioned do your calculation well. As loans from company directors without interest also allowed in the allowable expense loans. Why are they without expense? Expense is what is allowable. And if the director is loaning the company, there should be an agreement, a written agreement. Then if you're paying them those premium and interest, that interest is allowable. Number three, during audit, KRA will ask you where did the director get the money to loan the company from? Alizitoa wapi? Ama anaokota profits anairudisha, anasema ni loan, analoanisha kampuni. So those are some of the queries that come in. Ama imewekwa tu kwa vitabu ndio aweze kudraw pesa. You know, you can put it in the books, but there is nothing. Then you just ndio unaonyesha na drawings. And make sure that if you have directors, when you are filing this return, if you have directors' involvement in the company, make sure that you have directors' accounts that accommodates those loans, those withdrawals. And I mentioned that the withdrawals can be charged pay as you earn. Those are directors withdrawals. And for directors withdrawal, we said the remedy is using a payment wallet. The remedy is using a payment wallet, and we have a payment wallet. It's called My Accurate Pay. Inaitwa My Accurate Pay. So for us, when we go to the marketplace and we find issues that are affecting businesses, we come back and design solutions. So we have a design solution for that. It's called My Accurate Pay. So my colleague is going to talk about it for the next 14 minutes until 12. And then for all the questions here, I populate these questions. I pick the ones that are major, and I also create very short videos and talk about them. So you can also view me on TikTok. You're going to see a lot of this information. I've shared it in 1-minute videos, 2-minute videos that will really help you. But I'm hoping that today you've been able to learn. There are so many questions. Oscar tulisema cashiers, they don't do pay as you earn, but you recognize them. And make sure that you have the cashiers or the wages sheet. Ile tulisema unaweka jina, for number, amount, signature. A support document is important. And if these are people that are earning 24,000 and below, but they are permanent, waeke kwa payroll. Waeke kwa payroll, wafailie pay as you earn. It will be zero, but it's going to hike or to put your salary expense ikiwa sawa. Can I generate lump sum invoices, maybe by month, for the fees from students as opposed to individualized? So Samuel, for the school, my hosts, Joachim, I hope you can listen to that. We have a system for schools where you can do lump invoices, and it is we have partnered with Digitax to have the eTIMS integration. So you can do that and it will be very simplified. So the eTIMS integration will be effective by 1st of July. So Joachim ata mention about the software. I know it's a lot of work. Imagine unatoa hapa, unarudi kwa eTIMS, unatoa kamoja is a lot of work. So we've been able to capture that. I filed my pay return and it showed amount to pay. I was wondering why. Kuna kitu hukuweka vizuri. So kuna kitu hukuweka vizuri. Na ubaya, when it has gone, amendment ni kazi ingine kubwa. So you don't amend downward. That's why I say some of these things unaifanya tu vizuri. So for you to amend downwards at utoe hiyo amount, oh, is a hassle. Ni audit hiyo. ni audit. I don't know how much was it. Sometimes you look at it and you say, instead ya kushinda KRA nikizungukana nao, I rather pay that 5,000. So I don't know how much it is. So remember, when you do paying return, pay as you earn, already the ledger has information from your employer. It has that information. So you analyze that information first before you come in and file. Una mirror ile information. And some of our P9, kuna wengine wanapewa P9. Hiyo P9 unapata iko different and what is in your ledger. Make sure that you rather use what is in your ledger than what is in your pay as you P9 document that you've been provided. Can a consultant register for turnover tax? Yes. We say the advantage of turnover tax is final tax. So ukifanya hiyo 1.5% on your gross, hakuna mtu anakuuliza items, invoice, hizo vitu zingine. So it is posing to be an advantage for some of our companies. How do you treat salesperson transport and accommodation expense with no invoice? You can qualify them as per diem for now, and see. Is this supplier have been using items invoices through KRA portal but not using company? How do you to treat for accounting KRA portal? Hiyo sijaelewa. But not using company's PIN. So I know there are some of you have items invoices but haikuwekwa PIN yenu. You can put them pale kwa non-VAT. Haita reflect. For it to reflect, the person has to use your PIN. And for items, it has so many ways to do it. You can do it through the portal. You can do it through your phone as a USSD code. You can do through eCitizen. You can do through client, the one you download. You can buy a machine. You can do integration. Ziko design mingi sana to be able to do that. What I advise is that when you are doing in one area, you proceed. Because sometimes kuna watu wanafanya kwa portals, time nyingine kwa eCitizen, you may find that haziendi pamoja and they have to flow properly. So asanteni sana, so many questions. I'll pull these questions and we can meet on TikTok. I'll do some short videos on some of the questions that you're asking for. Because of time, na mulikuja mapema, I don't want to keep you longer. I want to welcome Emily is saying, I'm enjoying my accurate pay. Kudos. Thank you. Emily, tupe ninyo. Tupe testimonial na video. And you can go on the Play Store and do that testimonial. So thank you so much for that. I want to welcome Joachim to be able to take us through for the next 10 minutes. I request for that. And then we can be able to talk. If you need to talk to us, there is a number 0728. My co-host, you can write it on the chat. And then there was a calendar booking that you can be able to Sawa. You can be able to someone will reach to you. So if you did the booking on the calendar, someone is going to talk to you immediately. I also want to mention that we have the taxation masterclass. taxation masterclass, hiyo sijasema. Come learn. We train tax in a very practical way. Na iko September, so you can plan. Physical, online, you can plan on it. So tumesema tuseme mapema so that you can save. It is affordable and it is very practical with a lot of knowledge. We also realized that there were so many queries, so many things that we are doing on our audit, that we felt it was important to also do an audit and bookkeeping masterclass. So you can be able to also plan on that. It will be in November. So we have those two masterclasses. You can be able to plan on them. They are affordable. You can pay. You can pay on them as you move on. Then you can talk to us on tax health check, the audit services, what we've talked about, the internal audit, next time I'll talk about it. The tax services, we do a lot of representation of to KRA on tax issues, and we win them. So with that, I say asanteni sana kwa kuja, kwa kusoma. Let's meet on Friday, same time. We'll be having another discussion altogether, an interesting discussion. And you're going to also apply what I've talked about. Kama utakuwa na challenges, we'll still be here to answer a bit of challenges that you'll be having. For all the people that are doing, because I see some people who come on our webinar, they are doing what? They are doing freelancing, accounting, tax. Learn as much as you can. For me, when I started doing freelancing, ilikuwa ngumu sana. I didn't know where to get the knowledge from. So here, you can be able to learn. And there are so many businesses out there. Biashara zinatengenezwa kila siku. The businesses are born the same way if you go to a citizen, inafanya biashara kila siku. So there are so many people wanting a lot of these services. So you can be able to just learn as much as you can, so that when you're giving information to your client, you give them the right information. Kuna mtu anaitisha namba, hiyo nimeandika 0728897429. Thank you so much for coming to learn. So that's the number. So Joachim, karibu sana. Joachim, karibu. Posters za masterclass ziko social media. Yes, ziko.
So we'll talk about my accurate books in the next 10 minutes, just to take you an overview about the bookkeeping part of the business, and how you can be able to track about the business bookkeeping. And also there is someone who had asked about school bookkeeping. So also the system, you can be able to track on how you can be able to manage the books from generating invoices, also sending reminders to parents about pending bills, and also how to track about your profit and loss of the business, and also generating basic accounting reports. So hold a minute, I share my screen. I'm on that.
Oh.
I will just take you through in the next 10 minutes. About my accurate books, there is someone who had just talked about bookkeeping in school. So that we'll also be able to talk about it, and also the basic bookkeeping in normal business output. So in a minute, I'll be sharing my screen on the system. So just hold on a minute. Could you share screen? So a minute. So basically, through my accurate books, you can be able to, from the point of sale, it has also a point of sale whereby you can be able to generate receipts for your customers. And also it has the purchase management, whereby you can be able to track about the purchases of your suppliers. And also it has the expense management. It has the expense management, whereby you can also be able to track on the expenses of the business. So that again, you can be able to track on how the business is performing, and also about the expenses that are incurred in the business. The other part on the system that you can be able to track is on the pending creditors and also data, so that again, you can be able to track on that. And also the other key factor on the system is on the permission. So if you have different users of the system, again, you can be able to track that on the system. So those are some of the key features that you can be able to navigate through my accurate books, as I'm sharing the screen in a few minutes. So if you can see my screen, you can drop a thumbs up. So this is my accurate books. This is the outlook of the website of my accurate books. So you can be able to use it on mobile, and also you can be able to use it on desktop or your computer or your iPad. So it is a cloud-based system, so you can be able to use it on any device that is has a internet connection. So some of the just talk about the key features of the system, and also now give you an outlook of how a live account looks like. So some of the key features you can be able to access on the system, as I had talked about the core features. The dashboard, which gives you an overview of how the business is performing, and also the inventory management, which is basically keeps track of the stock levels and also the different services that you're offering. And also when it comes to the sales and the POS, you can be able to generate receipts, generate invoices, also generate credit notes for your customers in case there is a return of different items by the customer. Then also it has the purchase management, whereby you can be able to track about the different purchases from or purchase orders from from your suppliers, and also you can be able to generate a supplier payment, so that again you can be able to track on the payments that you are supposed to make to your suppliers, and also you can be able to generate debit notes. Maybe in case a supplier brought in some things, some of the items which had some issues. Then on the transaction, you can be able to have all the transaction within the business, that is the money in and the money out of the business, and also the different codes, so that when it comes to reconciliation of those particular transaction and also through your bank statements, you can be able to have an optimal experience about the transaction, about the reconciliations. Then on the expenses, you can be able to have a track of all the expenses that you incur in the business. One key thing you can be able to do is you can be able to create your different expense categories, and also so that each particular category is captured in, and whenever you are doing a particular expense, you just put in that particular category, so that again you can be able to keep track of the money that is used within the business. Then the other key point is on the customers. So on the customers, you can be able to input all your customers on the system, so that again you can be able to have a track of what is happening in the business. And again, whenever you want maybe to send a statement of a customer, again, you can be able to share a statement to that particular customer. And also you can also be able to do a bulk SMSs to your customer, so that again, maybe you are sending a reminder of a particular payment. Yeah, and also you have two types of customers, maybe the business customer and also the individual customers. Then accounting, you can be able to generate all the accounting reports, and also on the reports you can be able to generate the normal reports, that is the profit and loss reports, the customer balances, and also creditors. And when it comes to the user and permissions, it's about delegating work within the system. Maybe a particular salesperson is only supposed to do sales alone and is not supposed to edit anything. So you can be able to limit those particular permission in the system. And then the other key feature on the system is about the branches. So you can be able to have multiple branches, manage each branch as a business entity, which gives you a report of each particular branch and how it's performing. So those are some of the key features on the system, plus more features on the system, as you can see on the website. So what I'll do, I'll just log into my account, and then we can have an overview of how our live account looks like, so that you can now be able. And also what we usually do is if you want, you're interested in our system, the moment you create an account, we are able to reach out to you and also do your 10 minutes virtual demo on how the system operates, so that when you are onboarding or inputting your different stocks or different inventory, you can be able to navigate seamless through the system. And also in a minute, I log into my account. So I can also see a question as someone has, just a minute, I log in, and then I can be able to take on the question. If you have a particular question, again, you can drop that particular question, and then I'll be able to take on that particular question and how we can be able to navigate through. So just a minute, I log in. Okay. So I guess I can see there is someone who has asked about how you can be able to track about the customer's payment. Yes, you can be able to use the system to track on a customer's payment, so that whenever they make a payment, again, you can also be able to generate a receipt for that particular transaction. So this is the overview of how the system looks like at the moment you log into the system. This is the view you'll be able to get from the system. Just basically the dashboard, which gives you an overview of how the business is performing. And also you can be able to see the sales, the expenses, the purchases. So that is just an overview on the monthly sales performance, and also the data's report, and also the financial overview. Then on the inventory products and services is whereby you'll be able to have a track of your different stocks of items, and also the different services of items that you offer. So you'll be able to have a track of the different items that you offer. So these are track of the items that are input in by particular account: the school uniform, the Amara lotion, the collagen. So you'll be able to have the items you offer, the stock level, the buying, and also the selling price. So you'll be able to have all that in the system. So, and also you can be able to do stock transfer to the multiple branches, and also stock control. That is now taking stock of maybe you take a stock review at the end of the week. You can be able to do using the system. Then on the sales, you can be able to generate make a sale, that is an invoice and receipt, generate quotation, credit notes, and also you can be able to receive payments for pending payments from customers, and also you can be able to make arrangements on deliveries. So the other key feature on the system we had talked about is on the purchases. So through the system, you can be able to do purchase orders, which now you can be able to send to your suppliers to supply you those particular items that you urgently need. You can be able to record the purchases, the debit notes, and also you can have your suppliers, so that whenever maybe you want a statement of your suppliers, it's just a click away from on the system, and then you can be able to generate that particular statement. Then you can also be able to pay your suppliers if you pay them on credit terms. If you have an arrangement on credit terms, you can be able to do so. Then on the transactions, you can be able to also input an external transaction, and also the different transaction within the business. That is the money and out, and the money in the business. So you can be able to see all those particular transactions in the system, and also if it was a bank transfer, a cash payment, or an M-Pesa payment. Then on the expenses is more about tracking the money that is used in the business. So the key one thing that you'll be able to do is you'll be able to create the different expense categories, so that when inputting a particular expense on the system, you can be able to tag it on a particular category, so that when you generate your monthly report on the expenses, you can be able to have a track of the total payments, and also per category, if it's on salaries, the people we paid. So this is an outlook of our expense management on the different expenses we have been able to do. Then on the customers, you can be able to list the different all our customers in the system, so that again, if there is a particular message you want to send to them, because already we have the bulk SMS on the system, you can, if you are running a promotion, you can also be able to do that through the system, and also send reminders for your customers on pending payments. So you can be able to do so. So it is as first is that, so you don't have to go to the SMS or your WhatsApp to remind them about a payment. You just go to your system, write a message about the reminder of a payment, and then share it from the system, and they'll be able to see our business owes you this particular amount which you are supposed to remit to us. Then on the accounting, you can be able to have all the accounting reports from the cash flow, the balance sheet, the trial balance, the general ledgers, and also asset management, so that again you can have an inventory of your different assets, and also the journal of entries, and also the ability to create different charts of account. Then on the reports, you can also be able to generate all the accounting reports from inventory, profit and loss reports, to customers reports, to creditors reports, and sales reports. So basically, this system has all the operation in the business in mind. So even as a business owner, you can always be able to track the business wherever you are. without much of the accounting knowledge, you can be able to navigate through. Either you are running a shop, you are running a club, you are running an hospital, you are running a school, a consultancy, a service business. You are well catered into our system. So it's something that you will be able to track your business so that you can be able to make better decisions. Then we go to the user management. This is about now delegating permissions in the business. That is, maybe a particular person is supposed to have access to a particular area. So if it's a salesperson and you just want them to have access on the sales, you just give them permission on the sales alone, so that again they won't be able to see your different other reports, maybe the accounting reports. It is voided from them, so that again you can be able to keep your business information away from being leaked outside. Then on the branches, again, you can be able to have your different branches in the system. So that whenever you want to track on each particular branch, you can be able to generate a report as per branch. And also the other part is on the billing of our system. So we have two packages. That is the gold package and also the standard package. You can see it is quite a customer-friendly packages. So we have the standard package, which is more of the beginner, the smaller entities for 5,500, and also now the gold package, which you can be able to generate more accounting reports. So sorry for that. So you can be able to have the accounting reports module, the multi-business management module. So you can be able to run multiple companies under one account through using the gold package, which also have more branches and also more users. So it's something. So we have the monthly packages, yearly packages, semi-annually packages, and also the quarterly packages. So you are all catered for, even if it's what kind of a business you can be able to track using my accurate books. You can choose either the standard package or the gold package as per your business, or depending on the number of business you have. And then you can be able to have accurate data about your business. And also some key features we are also planning to have on the system is about the e-teams, which will roll out in 1st July. And also the payroll, we'll also have it on the bulk SMSs. We have already pushed them on the end, so you can already be able to send SMSs to your customers. So the other key part is My Accurate Pay. So My Accurate Pay is a wallet which basically come as a help for many business, because now they can be able to differentiate personal money from business money, because they can be able to do all the petty cash transaction using the Accurate Pay wallet, whereby you can also be able to generate the expenses reports, and also you can be able to have them on your accurate book. So you can be able to do petty cash, you can be able to make payments using your wallet, and also your wallet becomes your point of collection. So you can be able to prompt your customers when making payment, and the money will basically go to your wallet. And then from your wallet, you can be able to pay suppliers, pay different maybe salaries or the different expenses within the business, do bank transfer. So it works more perfect for a business setting to manage about the petty cash, so that you can have a clear differentiation of your personal money and also the business money. So just load in your money in that particular wallet, and then you can be able to do the petty cash transaction to the different entities that you are paying. So those are some of the key features on the system. So what I'll do is I'll take a few questions that you have asked about the system. So if you have a question, you can drop it on the chat box. So let me take a few. So kuna Tanlek ameuliza about the bulk SMS. So the bulk SMS, for us, we have pushed the API on the system. So what you do is you'll be able to load in the different package of SMS that you want to have. Maybe you want to buy maybe SMS worth 100 shillings. You can be able to load that. And then you can also be able to do the bulk SMS to your customers. Maybe you can select all your customers and send a particular maybe promotional messages. And also if it's a reminder, you can also be able to send to a particular customer on a reminder of a payment. For my Maureen, you have asked about accurate book. What is the fee to install, and is there an annual license fee? Can the student be? So there is there is no fee for installation. So the only fee you pay is the subscription, which is maybe if you have taken the gold package is 9,000 per year. So, and also you have asked about eTeams. So we are rolling out eTeams integration in 1st July as we start the next financial year. So that again, you can start with a clean books, clean outlook of your book. So on 1st July, we'll be able to roll out on eTeams. And also there is no subscription, there is no annual fees, it's only the subscription fee, which is 9,000 for a whole year or 5,500. About the license, there are no licenses because that we have catered for. So, and also if you have a particular question, you can also give us a call on 0116 333 000, or drop a text in WhatsApp, and then I can be able to give you a call and take you through the system. So, Beth, I really need these accurate books. How can I get it? And if I'm operating several companies, do I need to? But no, that's why we have the gold package. So through the gold package, you can be able to run multiple companies under one account. So if you have taken the annual subscription, maybe the 9,000, so you can be able to have your 2 companies under one that account. So you only pay for one, so that you can be able to manage your multi companies. So the number is 0116 333 000. So Beth, you can take the number and give me a call after this, and then I'll just take you the system, help you set up the different companies under that one particular account, and then you can be able to maneuver through. And also you can also drop a message on WhatsApp, and then I can be able to reach out. So there is a Mugambi, can my system manage a medium-sized chemist that has several branches? Yes, if Mugambi, if you have maybe on the standard package, you can be able to run up to 3 branches on my accurate book. So your one account can be able to have 3 branches, so you can be able to have that. And for chemists, we have you can be able to have your data entry into the system. That is the different medicine that you offer, with also the expiry and also their different batches. So, and also you can, so that again, you can also be able to track about the payments. Felix, you have asked about can my accurate be one of, basically the system is more on a subscription. So if maybe you want one off, you can maybe plan to take, maybe pay maybe 3 or 4 years at once, so that it gives you a longer period. But you can also take the yearly package, which is 9,000 or 5,500, so that you don't have to keep renewing each after end of the month. What else? What other question? So you can share your question and in the WhatsApp, and then I'll be get back on the WhatsApp and also answer those. So Beth, don't forget to drop a message on the WhatsApp or give me a call. Also, Mercy, do so. And how long does it take to install? So Mugambi, to install is not much. We can do it within 10 to 15 minutes. Help you create an account, set up all the different entities in that particular account. Maybe if you have your stock, maybe in an Excel, we can be able to do Excel import into the system of your different drugs. And then within 15 minutes, I can be able to take you through the system, just to show you how to navigate through to generate receipts, invoices, track on the stock, do stock trade. And then you'll be able to manage the accounts effectively. So Mugambi, drop me a text on the WhatsApp or give me a call on 0116 333 000. Also, Judith, reach out, and then I'll take your issues, and then you can be able, and also I'll do you a demo, and also I can also try, give you a discount on the payment, so that because you had joined these master tax trends with Dr. Regina, so I can decide to give you maybe a discount on the package that you choose. So reach out on the drop a text, a message on WhatsApp, and then I'll be call you back, set up a virtual demo meeting, take you through the system, set up an account, and also choose the package that you want. Millicent, when you say generate invoices, what of eTeams invoices and how are the two incorporated? So from 1st July, what I've said, Millicent, so we had not put the eTeams on the system, but from 1st July, as we start the new financial year, we'll have the eTeams on the system so that for your customers that need eTeams invoices, you'll be able to do it using these MyAccurate books. You don't have to generate an invoice on MyAccurate books and then log into your eTeams account to generate another invoice. So that one will be able to cover for it in 1st of July. So keep in touch. Also reach out, we set up an account. I don't know if there is any other question, but if you have a question, just give us a call on 0116 333 000, and then I will help you set up an account, give you a virtual training about how to navigate through, and also help you choose a subscription, and also maybe give you can try to give you maybe a discount on the subscription that you take. I can decide to also add you an extra month so that it becomes more of like your welcome package into the system. And again, for support, we are always there for support. And basically because our customers are SMEs in Kenya and we are in Kenya, so we'll be able to have a real-time support whenever you have an issue. Basically, just a call away, you are sorted. So I can say those were the few questions that had been asked. So if you have any other question, again, our WhatsApp channel, our social medias, that is on TikTok, MyAccurate Books, on Facebook, MyAccurate Books, on Instagram, MyAccurate Books, or on our WhatsApp channel, which is 0116 333 000. Drop a text, drop a question. I'll be able to get back within a few minutes, and then I can be able to check you about the system and how you to navigate through. So that basically was my presentation, and also I appreciate you took time to be in the meeting. So have a lovely day. And also the recording, Lynette, you're asking about the recording. So the recording will be shared after the meeting. So keep in touch. Thank you for your time.